Oh, you got her, dude. She's down.
Let's go.
Dude, I just shot a deer of a lifetime.
Freaking smoked him.
One with nature, and if you're a believer, one with God.
Definitely gets your heart pumping. Boy, you are in trouble.
Fall Obsession Podcast.
All right, welcome back, everybody, to another week of our Fall Obsession Podcast. Appreciate you guys tuning in. We are bringing you guys a new episode every single Monday morning. And if you guys haven't already, we want to make sure you follow and subscribe so that you get notified every time we do roll a new one out. Like I said, every single Monday morning. I am Sam with Fall Obsession, your host for this week. And I'm joined by one of our pro staff and a great contributor to Fall Obsession, pro staffer Brendan Scott. Welcome back, man.
Hey, thanks, man.
Super excited to have you back on here. For those of you who may be a new listener, Brendan has been on the podcast before. A really awesome episode, actually. It's episode 54, titled, I think we have it titled DIY Colorado Elk. Brendan went on last year a complete do-it-yourself public land Colorado elk hunt. It was a long time coming. It was a successful hunt. Killed an awesome bull out there. So a really cool episode, break down a lot of stuff, some crazy stories in that one. Again, if you guys haven't heard it already, I encourage you guys to go back and check it out. And Brendan, I don't know if you know this, but that episode 54 where you joined us last time, it is actually the second most downloaded episode we've ever had on our podcast. So
Wow.
you got
Good.
one in the top 5 there, buddy. Awesome.
Heck yeah. Glad to hear that.
And I'm hoping that that these podcasts that we're going to knock out with you here in this week and another one upcoming after this, that they'll be following suit, and that'd be awesome. But today we want to talk about turkey season. I know turkey season has been concluded for a little while now, but we're still kind of trying to get some recaps in and some folks on here who had some good seasons. And I know it was a good season for you. So want to kind of dive in and talk about that and recap some of the memorable hunts and experiences that you and your fiance, now wife, had this past season. And congratulations on the wedding, man. That's awesome.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
So just kind of, I know you, like I said, you've been on pretty recently on the podcast, but for those who may not caught episode 54, give yourself a brief introduction and just kind of where you're from, and then let's dive into this turkey season.
Well, I'm Brendan Scott. I'm originally from the Oklahoma Panhandle, but now we've moved a couple hours outside of it, but still living in Oklahoma, northwestern Oklahoma. So it's pretty good out here. I'm within 5 hours of pretty much everything you can think of to hunt, so really
Awesome.
Can't beat it.
That's awesome. Well, set us up for spring turkey in 2021. Did you do any scouting beforehand? Did you have any idea of numbers or any particular expectations, or was it just it was time to turkey hunt and you were going?
Well, in past years, I would have done a whole lot more scouting. This year we had our wedding coming up, so it seemed like most of our time went towards that, trying to get everything. I was working a lot of hours trying to get everything paid for, and then we were, getting everything planned for that. So I didn't get to do the scouting that I usually would. But I mean, we did a little bit of scouting, but most of it was pretty much like, well, we've seen birds here in the past, so let's go see if we can get lucky. And we did several times, actually.
Awesome. So tell us about the first one hitting the ground.
So the first one, we went out opening morning of Oklahoma turkey season, which was April 6th. And me, Courtney, and one of my best friends, Justin Mays, we wanted to get Courtney a bird first because she'd never shot one before. Last year we tried to get her one, and every time she couldn't come, we'd call in several birds, and when she couldn't come, when she could come, we'd get skunked. It never failed. So I figured we'd try to get her one first, and And this one spot I have, which is over probably 45 miles from our house or so, we'd seen some birds there last year. Me and one of my buddies, Heath, have killed birds there almost every year. But we went out there and got in. I mean, perfect timing. We're walking in, and I hit a couple calls, just a couple yelps, and we didn't hear anything. Nothing gobbled at all. And I was like, ooh, maybe, this isn't going to be good. So we walked in another 100 yards, and I hit one more yelp, and all of a sudden we got 5 toms gobbling literally all the way around us.
Holy cow.
I'm like, oh, this is going to happen now. And the closest one was probably already 60 yards away, if that. We were down in a bottom covered with cedars. So there was no way he could see us, and there's no way we could see him. And but he was close, real close. And so Justin stayed with Courtney. They got set up, and I took off running. And I set the decoy up, and I ran off probably about 100 yards behind him or so. And that was honestly probably one of the hardest toms I've ever called, which worked out, especially for it being her first one. The suspense was definitely getting to her. So I worked from the first time he gobbled. I bet I worked that bird for 45 minutes. And like I said, the whole time he's only 60 yards away, and he did not want to come.
Huh.
And finally, he just couldn't take it no more, which I could see him for about 20-30 minutes of it, because I was up on top of the hill and they were down lower. So they could never see him till he finally decided he was going to come. So about the time he decided he was going to come, he came, and I called him in. He came in 6 yards from her, and she smoked him. So it worked out perfect.
Wow.
So she smoked him. We took our pictures and everything, and I put the bird up and just kind of put him up in a tree to keep him away from any coyotes or anything. And I was like, well, I guess it's our turn, Justin. So we walked probably 400 or 500 yards down the draw, and I hit a yelp. Boom, we got 2 more toms gobbling. And I'm like, whoa, today might go really well. So, but right, we look, and I can see them. They can see us. I can see them. And so we all just hit the ground. And the only way we could get to him is if we cross the creek. So we circle way around, cross the creek. We're trying to get up to him, and he's, both these toms, there's 2 toms together. Both of them are big, real big. And they're probably 150, 200 yards away at this time. There's 5 or 6 hens there. There was no way it was going to happen. I mean, honestly, we tried and tried. They did not want to come. So we have it's worked several times for us, but didn't really expect it to work this time, because we had to get this pasture that they were in. They were out, like I said, 150, 200 yards out in the middle of it. It's heavily grazed, and there's nowhere to hide. There's nowhere to sneak up to them. So we had an old turkey fan, and I said, well, I guess what we can do is we can sneak up. We can just try to, crawl up to him behind the fan and see if we can get close enough. So Justin held the fan and his shotgun, and we started crawling. We got within probably about 75 yards of them, and that made them mad. And they came running in. They got about 30 yards away, and don't ask me how, but we counted. I said, all right, on 3, drop the fan and we'll shoot. So 1, 2, 3. He drops the fan. I shoot. I bust mine. He shoots, and his goes flying. I don't know what happened. He don't know what happened. That was the first turkey he's ever missed.
Oh, man.
So we could have had a triple that morning, but ended up only being a double. But still, I mean, it was an awesome hunt. Either way, it was cool just being able to crawl up to them that close and see how they react to the fan.
Yeah. So you went...
No cover, nothing.
Yeah. You went from not really sure if it would even be a promising morning to all of a sudden you said five toms gobbling around you, and next thing you know, you got a double on the ground.
Yep, exactly.
Wow, that's awesome.
It is awesome.
Now, was that Courtney's? Was that her first turkey, or has she killed
Yep.
before?
That was her first one.
Awesome.
So and she was hooked after that. After that, that's all she could talk about. When are we gonna go again? When are we gonna go again?
I haven't heard of a single person ever that hasn't killed their first turkey and then been hooked from that point on.
Oh yeah, it's one of the most. I rank it right there with deer hunting. Like she was talking to me because she saw her first deer last year, so she was like, "Man, I don't think. I mean, it's just a bird." I'm like, "You just wait till you call one of these just a birds in, and you'll be hooked." It's right there with deer hunting. Like I don't know if I could put one above the other. That's how much I love it. And she's right there too now. She's like, "I see what you were talking about."
Awesome. That's what we like to hear. So it didn't stop there for you guys. Y'all kept on rolling, and
We did.
I know that that turkey hunting and turkey kill pictures kept. It seemed like they kept flooding in from you. So, what happened next?
So next, we waited. We had gone out almost, probably 2 or 3 times a week after that. But same thing. It was always. It seemed like it got really windy. I don't know. Y'all know about Oklahoma. Pretty much is always windy. But
Yeah.
so there was a bad weather, couple weeks of bad weather that we couldn't really. We didn't have a whole lot. I mean, we really didn't go just a whole lot because of the bad weather. But when we did go, we didn't have a lot of luck. But finally, one day we get off work, or I get off work, and it's late. I mean, it's probably an hour till it gets dark. And like, let's drive out here, just a couple miles south of our house. I'm like, let's just drive out here and see what we see. And we had never even seen a turkey out here, like never seen one. And I'm like, it can't hurt. I mean, maybe we'll see a coyote or something, So we drive out there, and Courtney goes, "Look down there. What's that?" I said, "Is that a hog?" We look in the binoculars like 400 or 500 yards away. She's like, "That's a turkey. That's a lot of turkeys." I'm like, holy crap, it is. I get my spotting scope out, and I'm like, "That's a big turkey," which he was huge. So I'm like, "All right, well, let's go after him." I told her, I was like, "You need to." I didn't even have my camo because I figured, like, I had just got off work. I think she had like a camo hoodie on, and I was like, "Well, that's the biggest turkey I've probably ever seen, Court. We need to go now." And like, we didn't have enough time to go back to the house, get the camo or anything. We just need to go. So, and it's another really, really windy day. I think the wind was blowing like 30 that day. So we had to get close just for them to even hear a call. So I see which way they're headed, and I'm like, all right, well, let's get set up over here. And we get set up. It's getting really close to dark, and they never come. Like, well, crap. So then I said, well, let's just crawl up to the top of this ridge and look down and see where they're at. So we both crawl up, and there they are. They're in the same exact place they were earlier. Like, well, okay. So we crawl through this open pasture. I mean, it wasn't grazed, though, so at least you could hide. We crawl through this open pasture. I get within 75 yards of these turkeys, and she's like, "You just shoot them." I was like, "No, you need to shoot him." She's like, "You've never even seen a turkey that big. You shoot him." I'm like, "Well, you don't got to twist my arm anymore." So I get set up behind this yucca, and that's all I have. And like I said, I'm in like just a t-shirt, nothing. Like, I'm like, there's no way this is actually gonna happen. I had to call a couple times, and he fans out. Here he comes. I'm like, "Whoa, this might actually happen." So he comes in, and I lose him. Because I don't want to move too much, just because I don't have any camo or anything. And I'm like, "Well, where's he at?" So I hit just a soft yelp. He gobbles like 20 yards away. I'm like, "Oh crap!" So I slowly turn, and about that time he pops up over the ridge, and he was at like 17 yards, and I smoked him.
Awesome.
And that was that one that y'all got the picture of. He was almost 11-inch beard, and then like 1.75 spurs, I think it was. So, I mean, he was
Wow.
big, real big.
That's a stud.
Yeah, I couldn't believe it, honestly. We got up to him, he just didn't Didn't get no smaller, that's for sure. When we seen him, he was dragging the ground. I was like, that's turkey we need to get,
Yeah.
no matter what.
No, that's worth the effort right there. That's a stud.
Oh yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, it was great. And then about a week later, yeah, no, it wasn't. It was that weekend, that next weekend. I think that was like Thursday, and then it was Saturday morning. We went to a different place, which is just down the road from that place, which last year I had shot a turkey on opening day, but this year we had just not had. We've seen the turkeys around, and during deer season, I had like 15 toms in one group coming in, but I had set some cameras up out there to try to see turkeys. So we did not have a single picture of a turkey nowhere. So we went out there, and I was going to try to get Courtney one more bird. Well, we were actually going to try to get two more, but it just didn't work out. But besides the point, we get out there, and it was early morning, which is the only time I could think that they were coming, because we'd gone out several evenings and never seen nothing, never heard nothing. It was just dead. So we went out that morning, and sure enough, here they are. I had a water tank that I had filled up, just like a cattle tank, and luckily they were coming to that. So she had, I think there's 3 toms in that one group and like 10 hens. And like I said, we hadn't had a picture of them all year. Like, I think we just got lucky. They showed up. It all worked out. But they crossed the road, and they come in, and they were headed to that water tank, but I was able to call them off of it and called in her bird, and she busted her second one of the year.
Wow.
So we were going to try, which we had both, all the land that I had to hunt around here anyways, was in Oklahoma you can shoot 1 bird per county up to 3 birds. So we really, really wanted to limit out. Like, it was on the goal, but by the time that, like, we were just so busy with the wedding stuff, it just never was able to happen. And then I had my bear hunt come up, which was, like, that took a lot of my planning time. I was getting ready for the bear hunt anyway, so
yeah,
like I had fun. I had my fun for turkey season this year. So
sounds like a blast. So I wanted to talk also about just your gear setups, your calls that you've been using, and then also with this being Courtney's first year to kill a bird. And you may have mentioned it, and I didn't catch it. I didn't hear if it was her first year to actually turkey hunt, period. But I want to talk about what you got her set up with as well. That way, if we have any guys looking to get their wives or their girlfriends involved in turkey hunting, kind of maybe give them some pointers on some setups that might be good to get them started at a comfortable level.
Yeah, she's actually just using my old trusty Remington 870.
Okay.
3-inch, I think number 5, and it didn't. I didn't let her shoot it beforehand. Afterwards, she definitely was a little sore. I mean, she noticed it. I mean, them turkey loads don't hold back. That's for sure.
No, they do not.
But it wasn't too much for anything like that. I do think, honestly, that if she would have shot it beforehand, maybe she would have flinched a little bit. So that's what I was trying to stay away from.
Yeah.
But it worked out though, and she's obviously did it again. So
wasn't too scared after the first go around. So
no,
deal.
Not at all. Yeah. Yep. And I just got her. So the first year we didn't know if she'd like hunting or not. So we just went to Walmart and got her some cheap camo, because I didn't want to spend a whole bunch of money on her not knowing if she'd ever want to do it again, So the first year she just got cheap camo, but she really enjoyed it. So last year we went to Cabela's, and they have a really good selection. It's Cabela's brand, but it's called She Camo, that actually fits her better, because at Walmart they have girl stuff, but it just doesn't fit girls enough to be comfy for them, really.
Yeah.
I mean, she had camo, but she didn't really like it. It just wasn't comfortable. But after we got her this camo, which is not expensive camo, honestly, it's pretty affordable.
Yeah.
But it fit her a lot better. She was real comfortable, kept her more warm, obviously, and that's been her. I mean, we actually were in Cabela's the other day, and she was like, "Well, I need this next." And well, let's get it. But that's, especially for girls just starting out, I think that's really good for them. At least get them something that fits, you know. So
Yeah, absolutely.
but
And
and then
what about you? What all are you running this year, or we're running?
mostly I still wore. It depends where I hunt. I got a couple sets of camo that I like. I just have some regular Cabela stuff that does real good around here, but obviously my go-to is still all the Sitka. It's really light, keeps me warm in the mornings, and then it breathes good in the afternoon, because you know how turkey season is. It might be 40 degrees in the morning, then be 90, at noon.
Yeah.
So my Sitka is what I really like to run during turkey season a lot, just because it breathes so well when it's warm, and it still keeps you cold, or keeps you warm when it's cooled out. So
Yeah, absolutely.
but that, and then I have every year. She keeps telling me I need to get rid of some of it, and she's probably not wrong. But every year, at the end of the year, they have seems like you can go to Walmart, in May, and every single year you can find turkey decoys for like 75% off. And I'm bad about not turning them down. So I always get some new toys to try out. You just got to wait a whole year to do it. But so I just use a bunch of the cheap Walmart decoys, honestly. I mean, I know a lot of them guys run those $300-$400 decoys, but I feel like I have just as much good luck with the cheap stuff, and which maybe it's because I'm not trying the expensive stuff. Maybe that one bird that hangs up on me wouldn't. But and then my calls, I got that nice Fall Obsession slate and glass call from Adam.
Awesome. Is that what you were working birds with this year?
Yes, sir. Yeah, and if them guys if any of y'all haven't seen that thing, you need to go look a video up, because they're super nice, especially for the price. And I think, do you still have that deal going on with them right now, Sam?
Yeah, I was gonna mention that when you threw that out there, that you killed those birds, that even though turkey season has long passed, we do have our custom handmade pot calls on sale right now. I think we have them priced all the way down to $49.99 right now. Again, this is a custom pot call, a glass slate combo, very good quality, and obviously Brendan has had some good success with it this past season. Several of our staffers were running them in the woods this year, and those calls are actually handmade by one of our own guys up in Pennsylvania, Adam Scythe. He's a pro staffer with us, and hand makes those custom calls. So really great quality, and obviously produce some results for Brendan. And to give you guys kind of an idea, because if you're a new turkey hunter or you've never bought a pot or a slate call or anything like that before, to get a good quality, a custom or a handmade call like that, you're normally going to be spending more, over 60 or 65 bucks, if not more, in the $80 range. And like I said, we have that call priced down right now all the way to 50 bucks, just for because the turkey season's over, and we're trying to get the rest of our inventory in y'all's hands. So even though the season is over, we still have those calls available, and you guys can pick them up and save them from next year, So yeah, Brendan, I'm glad that you had some good results with that product, and we're able to get it out there in the field and put it to use, man. That's awesome.
Heck yeah, it's definitely everyone needs to try it, especially for how cheap it is right now. I mean, that's most people spend that much going out to eat one night, so
yeah, exactly. Yeah, just eat at home one night and buy yourself a new turkey call.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, priorities. Come on now.
Yeah, exactly. So man, what's on your radar for the fall, as we kind of turn our attention there? Because as we briefly mentioned at the beginning of this episode, and obviously if folks go back and listen to 54, they'll hear all about it. But I know you had Colorado elk hunt, you had Kansas hunts last year. You got any big plans so far for 2021 fall hunting?
Yeah. Well, I had bigger plans until the draw results came back, but I'm sure
yeah, we all did.
I'm sure everyone's probably had the same issues, but it seems like, which it ain't a bad thing. There's been more people put into the draw this year, I think because of COVID than in history. And that's not just, a state here and there. It's all states.
Yeah.
So I didn't draw out in not even my home state of Oklahoma. I didn't even draw anything. So I got a bunch of preference points, I guess, but that's about it. But I'm gonna still go to Colorado this September and do the same thing, just over the counter.
Yeah.
Probably go back to the same area too, just because I love it so much there. So
Awesome.
we're gonna go to Colorado first thing in September. I'd probably spend the entire month there. And honestly, what's on my radar even more than the elk this year, I think, is try to see if I can get a bear. So whenever something, I cross the elk off my list, and don't get me wrong, I still would love to get me an elk this year, but the bears kicked my butt now, and y'all hear about that here in a little bit. But
Yeah, we won't get into that here because, and just so our listeners know, here in the next, the way it'll fall in our podcast schedule within the next couple weeks, y'all will be hearing another episode with Brendan on the line, and we're going to talk about his Montana spring bear hunt that he had. He's alluded to it a couple times now, but we're not diving into that because we're dedicating a whole episode to it. So you guys will have to stay tuned and keep an eye out for that one. So,
but besides that, probably, well, I'd like to go to thinking about an Arkansas hunt. It's really easy to, over the counter tags, and you get a bunch of tags, and it's not too expensive. So I think that might be kind of fun to go do. Besides that, probably just take a lot of time, spend around home this year.
Good deal, man.
So,
well, awesome. Sounds good. Well, guys, we're gonna actually kind of start wrapping up. I know this is a little bit earlier and a shorter episode than we normally do, but again, we're saving that Montana bear hunt conversation for another episode. So keep your eyes out for that. Brendan, I appreciate you taking some time out of your day to come on here, join us back on the podcast again. It's always a good time. Hear about what you got going on and your hunting efforts and everything. Sounds like a good turkey season again. So,
heck yeah! Thanks for having me. Enjoyed it.
You bet, man. Well, guys, if you have not already, I want you to hit that follow and subscribe button on whatever app you're listening to this podcast on. We are on all major podcast platforms. And as I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, we're dropping a new podcast every single Monday morning. We've been very consistent with that for 60-something weeks now. So always bringing you guys new content and having guests from across the country like Brendan join us to share their stories and their experiences and their knowledge with us on our podcast. We try to keep it entertaining and educational at the same time. So be sure that you guys subscribe and turn on notifications, all that good stuff, so that you guys know whenever we drop a new episode every Monday. Check out fallobsession.com. That is our hub. That's where you can find all of our hunting and outdoor content, videos, all of our media series, photos, reviews. We talk a lot about different kinds of gear, and it's gear that our guys have actually purchased themselves and spent their own money on and field tested themselves that they're reviewing. It's not all sponsorship stuff or anything. We're blue collar outdoorsmen, so we take pride in doing our research and using quality products. So, and all of our guys try to review the stuff they use. So go check those out. We got some wild game recipes on there that are pretty sweet. I know that I've tapped into our own recipe arsenal several times doing cooking at home with wild game meat, so go check those out. fallobsession.com/podcast. That is our podcast page on our website. All our episodes are published there, and there's a form there that you guys can fill out basically to provide us feedback. You can ask questions, suggest topics, just other general feedback. We take our criticism constructively, so be sure you go on there and fill that out and send us your thoughts. Let us know what you think of the podcast. And we also got some new apparel coming out for the summer. We have a new American Pride t-shirt that is rolling out. It's a pretty sweet design. We've actually sold quite a bit of them. I think it's been one of our best-selling products just rolling off the line so far. But we do still have a few of those left, so you guys can jump on there and pick one of those up. Would be pretty cool. I think today, the day this episode is being published, June 28th, is the last day that you can order with the guarantee of getting it before 4th of July weekend. So if you're listening to this episode on day one after it rolls out, be sure you get your order in today so that we can get that shipping out to you guys and get it by 4th of July. If you don't get your order in today, order one anyway. You can still wear it after 4th of July. And finally, check out our social media pages, Facebook, Instagram, subscribe to our YouTube. We're about to be rolling out a lot more videos, a lot more consistently, so be sure you subscribe and turn on notifications on that. Appreciate you guys listening. Brendan, thank you again, man. Always a good time.
Heck yeah, thank you.
All right, guys, we'll catch you all again next week for another Fall Obsession podcast episode.